Hello, hello. Welcome to Best Kept Secrets of Sustainability by Diana Llanes Consulting. I am super excited. This is our first official video. As you know, Best Kept Secrets of Sustainability is a compilation of my more than 10 years of experience in the fashion industry and more than 6 years of experience working in the fashion industry in sustainability, helping brands becoming more sustainable. And so before we actually go in depth into each one of the subjects, I wanted to do a first video as an overall, just to understand in a more holistic way, what is the environmental impact the fashion industry is currently having in the planet. So the first thing we have to account for, and it's not first and second in terms of actual relevance, but just to actually name them, is microfibers in our oceans. Then we have another problem, which is waste accumulation. We have chemicals addiction, greenhouse gas emissions. We have water consumption and pollution, rainforest destruction, soil degradation, and desertification. These are the major problems the fashion industry is creating nowadays. You know, when we hear the fashion industry is the second most polluting industry in the world, well, that's true. But why? Well, exactly because of this. And it's not just, the solution is not vegan materials or byproducts or recycled materials. The solution is much more complex than what it looks like, and that's why we have created this channel, so we can have these open conversations about these very uncomfortable topics. And it's not to demoralize yourself, it's more than anything to actually have a realistic point of view on the repercussions our actions have in the industry. So let's start decomposing this. Today it's going to be very mellow in terms of data and information, and in the next subjects, in the next chapters, we are going to split it much more and break it down so we can have a very in-depth information regarding all of this. So regarding waste accumulation, so it is the fact regarding waste accumulation is that the way we have been living as of for now, which is a very consumeristic lifestyle, we would need by 2050, 3 planets to actually hold our current lifestyle. And what does it even mean, or how is it reflected? Well, so high-income countries, they spend up to 60% more than medium-income countries, and up to 13 times more than lower-income countries. And this is a terrible problem because all this waste accumulation, I'm just going to say one data, but in the United States in 2018, and I'm saying the United States because they're very rich on data, unfortunately countries such as China, India, which are also huge and very consumeristic, they don't share their data. Most likely they don't even have it. But in the US in 2018, 146 billion tons of garbage were registered only in the landfills, which accounts basically for 2.2 kilos of waste on a daily basis per person only in the United States. And that is crazy if you think about it. And you would say, but why does this have to do with the fashion industry? Well, most of the waste we are creating, it's also fashion related. So for example, in this table of the landfill, you would see how they would split it between non-organic waste, textiles, plastic, cardboard, metals, food. So all of the ones that were related to the fashion industry accounted for more than 41%. And that doesn't mean that textiles, that was a whole number. Textiles are also used by the food industry or by the automobile industry or by the furniture industry. So of course, textiles are used in many other industries, but fashion is very, very, very much related to that. So there's some of the data from the waste that were not 100% relatable to fashion, but were somehow relatable to fashion. So that 41% is not all accountable to the industry. However, it's still a very, very, very big number to take into consideration. And that's why it's a very big environmental impact that we are actually creating. And then if we think about chemical addiction, well, chemical addiction is anything that has to do with the dyings we're using and the finishing of the fabrics, which are extremely harming and ends up also in the water pollution and in the soil degradation. In any case, the chemical addiction, imagine that most of these chemicals are used in non-developing countries, where most of the garments are being produced. So countries such as Pakistan, Vietnam, Turkey, India. And the problem with this is that more than 90% of these chemicals are released in waters without any kind of control, meaning that the water becomes 100% undrinkable. So it's a real problem. Then we speak about greenhouse gas emissions. So greenhouse gas emissions, just the 10% of the global production are made by the fashion apparel industry. And just to have two numbers, 70 billion barrels of oil are produced each year to create polyester, which is the fabric #1 used. So imagine the second most polluting industry in the world and the first most polluting industry in the world working together to make one fabric, which, by the way, produces, when one load of the washing machine produces more than 700,000 microplastics that then they are released in the ocean. So imagine industry #1, industry #2 of like most polluting in the world combined together to make the most polluting material in the world, which is the first most used globally. So this again is not, I have nothing against polyester. These are just facts, and the important thing about it is that we know what it creates, so we at least know how to mitigate that impact. In fact, we have a full chapter on polyester because I think it's a super interesting topic. And also, another data on greenhouse gas emissions is that in order to create 1 kilo of fabric, we are generating 23 kilos of greenhouse gas emission. So multiply that by all the fabric we are creating on a year basis. Then we have the rainforest destruction. So as we know, rainforests are extremely important, of course, because they are the lungs of the planet, and without that we wouldn't have oxygen. Well, without that, and also many other things as coral reefs and the oceans. But let's speak about the rainforest destruction at the moment. And you know that only for the fashion industry, 3.2 billion trees are cut each year. And this is just for making packaging and for making cellulosic materials such as viscose. We also have a full chapter on cellulosic materials and on packaging. But imagine 3.2 billion trees in the world in 1 year. That is a lot. That is extremely a lot. And the problem is not just the 3.2 billion trees, but it's that 30% of these trees, they come from endangered forests, such as the Amazon forest. And we need to preserve them. Also because a tree takes the full life of a tree. It's not obvious that the tree is going to survive. Then for the tree, in order for the tree to be able to absorb the CO2 fully, they need to be fully grown. And that takes more or less like 20 years for the tree to actually get in full potential to absorb the CO2. And then it's not much that a tree can do. It's around 27 kilos of CO2 that they manage to absorb on a year. So we need many trees in the world to manage to mitigate all the CO2 emissions we are generating. Then soil degradation and desertification. This is an extremely terrible problem because if we continue degrading the soils as we are, in 20 to 50 years, we're going to have a decrease on 30% of the food production in the world. Imagine how many people there are already in the world that they don't manage to eat. They can't afford eating. So imagine with a 30% decrease, that means that prices would raise on food, and so only the wealthiest people would be able to afford a certain kind of food, or food in general, period. And then, well, the water pollution comes because of chemicals, because of the microplastics we're releasing, because of the fertilizers we're using to produce cotton, for example. Cotton is another full topic that we have. So let's say that this is just like a heads up on what's going on in the industry. And this is a very brief introduction on what we're going to speak about in Best Kept Secrets of Sustainability by Diana Llanes Consulting. We also have a lot of amazing guests that they will come and share with us their experience in the industry. Remember also that sustainability is not just environmental, it's also social and economical. So we're going to speak about all of these topics. We're going to go one by one and unstitch it literally so we can see it all inside. The idea is to have the best possible insight of the industry. And don't get me wrong, I love my industry. I wouldn't know what to do if it wasn't working in fashion, but we need to be super realistic on what's going on, just to make it better. Thank you very much for joining us today. I really hope you enjoy it. And if you have any topics you would like us to discuss about, please write them down. Like the videos if you actually enjoy the content. This is the best way for us to know that we are going in the right direction. Remember to subscribe to the channel so you are always aware when we are sharing new content, and share it with your friends or with someone that you know will appreciate this content. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.